Morning, guys. Finally, I got my setup ready, and hopefully, we're not going to have internet issues. Yesterday, in the middle of the class, the Wi-Fi was gone, and apparently, internet was gone too. I had to connect through my phone. Just like Clayton did the other day. If you have an excuse, but you have to stay home, with my prior approval, you can join through Zoom. Okay. In fact, you're seeing my Zoom screen over there. I'm projecting that computer that allows me to be mobile during the class if need be. Uh, let's see, Clayton, here's Kayla, Mason, Jay Leanne, Hayden Duffield, Logan, Jackson, Savannah, Dakota Hill, David is excused today, Dawson, Nate, here's Moberly, no, Lauren here, Moran, Steve, Carter, Perry, Randall, not here, Jared, Shorty, Bryson, Noah is excused today, Kylie, Clayton, I saw him around, Sharon is excused today, Blake, Savannah Wilson, and that's it. It's an auto save anyway. That's one of the things I like about my new computer. I can actually put everything on my OneDrive. We get 1 terabyte of storage as EKU faculty. If you need more than 1 terabyte, you probably are doing some things other than teaching, unless you have some sort of big data set, which means there is nothing actually that is stored on my computer. Let's see. Okay. If you go to Blackboard, while I'm arranging the lights, that's the file we're going to use. We will actually start with that file. Black-Scholes with Greeks. I think I already have it open, or I shall open. Ted is just come in. You guys know why I call him Ted? His last name sounds like Randall's. We have a professor called Ted Randalls, as Ted. Did I mention that I went to boarding school? We found a reason to give a nickname to everybody. I mean, if you didn't have a nickname, you were nobody. Nobody cared about you to give you one. Mine was given on the second day. I mean, my head was a little bit smaller those days. And, I was about 60 pounds lighter. And the ears were the same size. So I was called sailboat because they looked like a sail on a sailboat. That was the reasoning. I have friends from high school who don't know my real name. They just call me sailboat. And I call them with their nicknames. All right, let me open that file. This is something I did last night with the help of uh, some very fine cognac. And I actually did the put option in there. Let me go to the briefly after I take care of Carter. Come on. I love this sheet. For next semester, I'm going to do an improvement on that. When I get emails, a lot of times I don't get to them on time. I have to write them excuse. But as soon as I get the emails, I'm going to enter them. So when their turn comes, it's going to show that they're excused. So I don't have to do separately anything. I just have to worry about the people who are not here without an excuse. If you go to Visual Basic, let me briefly go through what I've done. Uh, First, I wanted to allow for the fact that the market doesn't close at 12 a.m. on the day of the expiration. For long-term options, that makes almost no difference. But if you have an option that expires 2 days from now, that's additional time from 9:30 to 3:30 when the option trading ceases becomes important. So I actually calculate time to maturity from now to 3:30 on the day of expiration. Since I keep using this, you can create constants that are available to any code. And the way you do it, if you want it only private to this module, you say private, but I want it to be available to anything. So I say public, constant, give it a name, give the value. Okay. If you know anything about the military way of telling time, 15:30 is 3:30 in the afternoon. So in terms of hours, that's 15 and a half. I don't think I use that, but just in case I put it in. Uh, to make my life a little bit easier, I divided certain things into pieces. For example, whenever we want to calculate cumulative distribution of the standard normal, I have to write that thing, application dot worksheet function dot norm s this dot whatever. It's not too much of a hassle, but I don't like keep writing that. So I created a simple VBA function. It's called normal CDF. It has one argument x, whatever that x is, and it just calculates that. So whenever I need the normal distribution, all I have to say is normal CDF, whatever the number I'm going to put in as input. Another improvement I made, Black-Scholes formula works with so-called continuously compounded interest rate. Your standard interest rates you see is compounded monthly, right? For mortgages, car loans, and stuff. And which means the APR is divided by 12. That is your monthly rate. And every month, that rate is applied to the balance. If it's daily, you divide it by 365. If you keep increasing that compounding frequency, you're getting very close to the infinite. This basically calculates what that continues to compounded rate would be given the rates you're putting in. And it has two arguments. The first one is I rate, your rate. The second one is what is the compounding frequency of the rate you're using. It's an optional argument. If you leave it blank, it's just going to assume it's 1. If the rate you're putting in is actually an effective annual rate, assume the IFREC is 1. But you're doing 3 months, option and the rate you're using is the APR for quarterly compounding, then your second argument is going to be 4, because there are 4 quarters and so on. If it's 1 month, it's going to be 12. So you don't have to worry about that difference. This one calculates present value of an amount or $1 given a continuous to compounded rate, okay? And given how much time you have left until you get $1. And as you know, normally we calculate the present value as 1/1 plus the period rate, right? Let me kind of show you something you may or may not know. Okay, let's do some magic. Normally, R is an APR with F periods per year compounding, all right? And normally present value of $1 is 1/1 plus that's okay. So if you want it raised to the power time, right? In fact,